How successful has the remote learning initiative been?
Well, I don't think that remote learning is ever going to take the place of, what we do as teachers with our students. I think that obviously, being there in person, direct instruction, the personal response and relationship to me is always going to be paramount. But I have been pleasantly surprised by the way that teachers have really taken hold of this, and I think that they've done a good job of certainly reaching out and communicating, but they're also doing good work using Google Classroom and so on. It has pointed out to us where we are going to start looking this summer on any areas if there are students that don't have the capability and capacity. And we think as we surveyed folks, there were probably about 20% of our population that maybe couldn't take advantage of this. So we're going to need to work on that part of it in terms of having maybe sets of computers and hotspots and things like that. And that's something that's been pointed up to us. But overall, even when I was on the call with our Teachers of the Year to say thank you to them, I heard some wonderful things that were going on in terms of virtual instruction. So I think for those that have really taken hold of it, both on the student, family end, and teacher end, it has been successful.
All right, our next question is there anything DCS learned from this that could be integrated into normal operations in the future?
I do think so, and as we do our plans for reopening, of course, this is all very unknown, and so we are looking at doing, probably surveying our parents to see if there are going to be parents that, for whatever reason, are still uncomfortable and may want to continue to do some sort of virtual. So I would foresee that as we move forward to the new year, it might be more of a hybrid approach where we certainly have direct instruction and have school as we know it, but also might have the capability to offer online instruction if that might be the preferred format, especially in the beginning, in the first couple of months. So it is something that I believe that as we start working on our plan, which we're going to do very shortly, we will certainly be considering that aspect.
Okay, the next question is, could we get a detailed explanation of how graduation will work at the fairgrounds?
I know the principal is working on a letter to send out to all the parents, and it will be detailed in terms of what time to come, how the parking is going to work, and what the numbers are going to, how the numbers are going to be set up. And as soon as that's accomplished, which I expect it to happen, by the end of today, so sometime tomorrow, we should be able to get exact information about how this graduation process will work. Please, everyone, remember that we have, 544 graduates, and so that's a lot of students. We're trying to find a way. It's certainly not what anybody wanted to do, but it is something that I think meets the mark. It's creative. It's careful. It's trying to make sure that people stay in their cars. It needs to be organized. It needs to be organized and orderly, but it's still going to be fun because students will be able to drive their cars in, park in their appropriate spot. When it's time for their name to be called, then they can drive their car up to where the outdoor stage will be. The students will have the ability and opportunity to get out of their car dressed in their gowns and hats and be able to walk across the stage. We will have Jumbotron kind of screens there so that everybody can see. Pictures can be taken. And remember, if the car is being driven up, then whomever is in the car certainly is going to have a front row seat to see their student graduate. We would ask that, please, I know people are trying to be creative, but we need to have the cars fit in the spots. So no limos, we can't have campers or any kind of huge, cargo vans or anybody pulling a trailer or anything like that. We have to have the students in the cars come in and fit in the parking spot. So regular cars, regular SUVs, things along that nature. So, but we will have the as much as possible, the detailed plan of how this will work, and we should be able to have that sometime by Tuesday morning.
Okay, the next question is, what are the plans for any summer programs?
Well, we're still waiting to hear and get the go-ahead, but at the last superintendent's meeting, what was said was sometime in mid-June, we could consider bringing together students that were older. By that, it would mean, maybe 13 and above, if there was a need in terms of, some sort of summer school. I know there's a lot up in the air about athletics and how they're going to be able to get back together and practice, and we're still waiting to see what comes down from the Athletic Association. So not until mid-June will we even have the opportunity to have the students be part of, campus or any kind of tutoring or direct instruction. And we're still thinking about that and working through that. Sometime right before school starts, so it would be July or so, maybe August, before we start thinking about having students that are younger that might need some sort of support. But for now, we're still in a holding pattern as far as summer school.
Okay, and our last question is, will DCS delay its fall start date, or will students return to class at a normal time frame?
So our calendar has us going to school, has students come into school relatively early, probably a little bit more early than the rest of the state. Again, one of the things that I received in terms of information and being on the superintendent's calls with the state school superintendent, he is asking that we come to school and start school either in the third week of August or the last week of August to allow more time. And being that we're obviously getting all kinds of materials in place, cleaning materials, personal equipment, personal protective equipment in place if we need it. There are many things that we're thinking through. That is why tonight, when we do our board meeting, I will ask the board to consider having the start day for students actually be the third week in August. And that is different than the calendar that we had approved, but this would be what I would call our Plan B calendar. So as we watch what happens, with COVID-19 and cases and so on across the state of Alabama, we will have this to be able to, have an extra week should we need it. But we are expecting to bring students back to school in the fall.